Activist Kimberly Jones is getting nationwide support for her powerful video that compares the economic plight of Black Americans to a rigged game of Monopoly. Her raw, unscripted speech on YouTube has been viewed more than 2 million times, and it's also been shared by a number of celebrities from LeBron James to Madonna. Our national correspondent Jericka Duncan spoke with Jones about her important message.
So for 400 rounds of Monopoly, you don't get to play at all. Not only do you not get to play, you have to play on the behalf of the person that you're playing against. You have to play and make money and earn wealth for them, and then you have to turn it over to them.
Kimberly Jones's video, titled "How Can We Win?" is part outrage, part history lesson. She says for the 400 years since enslaved Africans arrived in what is now the United States, they've been playing a game stacked against them.
How can you win? You can't win. The game is fixed.
The Atlanta-based activist, former bookseller, and young adult author has used the Monopoly analogy to teach finance and economics to teenage girls. But this was the first time she used it to explain systemic racism in such stark terms. She also referenced atrocities Black communities faced decades after slavery ended.
For 50 years, you finally get a little bit and you're allowed to play. And every time that they don't like the way that you're playing, or that you're catching up, or that you're doing something to be self-sufficient, they burn your game.
You talk about Tulsa, you talk about Rosewood. These were communities that were burned down by white mobs in the 1920s.
Yeah, this idea that we should just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps is ridiculous when people are not ready to discuss the ripple effect that slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, all of that has had on our communities.
And they are lucky that what Black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
Jones's passion is rooted in the numbers. Black households earn just over $41,000 per year compared to $70,000 for non-Hispanic whites. And Black families have a median net worth of $17,600 compared to $171,000 for white families.
There was all of this systemic racism that was allowed to just happen without repercussion when people were building the wealth that they could have passed down generationally that was taken from them. We have to reckon with that when we talk about the economic disparagement of the Black community.
How do you do that?
Well, I think the first thing is to just get the education that people need to listen.
There's one person I saw this week whose words have been echoing around my head.
That captured a story that so many people have struggled to tell.
People are listening, they're understanding. I think the next step is to start to put in incremental plans, some form of restitution for these communities, whether you look at healthcare, education, food insecurity, all of that is reverted back to economics.
And when you say restitution, what are you talking about?
I'm going to say the taboo word that everybody hates, reparations. I think we are owed reparations.
Where do we go from here?
I think that the best thing that we can do is to get out and vote, but that's only step one. We also need to pull together our community and make sure that the people that are on those ballots are people that are from that community, that have the same desires for that community.
We need to have real conversations, and we need real actionable items about what we're going to do next in order to see some real justice and some real change in this nation.
Does this time feel different?
I think this time feels very, very different, particularly because it's happened on such a global scale. And I think people have become passionate about it in a way that we haven't seen since the civil rights movement. And I do think that in 5 years, we're going to see a healthier, happier America.
Jones plans to publish a book based on that video, which has more than 2 million views on YouTube as of right now. She also said, Gail, that she wants to really work with people in her community to groom candidates for local elections. She understands the power there with people voting, and said that's where she also wants to make a change.
She's already making a change. First, I can't wait to read the book, Jericka. Ava DuVernay sent me that video, and I was blown away by her eloquence and her passion and the way she put it so succinctly, something I'm not doing right now. I think we all need to take a class from Kimberly Jones. I'm so glad you talked to her.
Yeah.
Love to meet her. Thank you, Jericka.